Hello, everyone. This is John Browning with the Building Your Life podcast. We have a special guest today, Frank Rubba, who has some specialized skills in something that you may not have heard about. We're going to talk a little bit about, how, first of all, how to contact him and everything else, but something about small businesses. So those of you out there who are listeners, I know there are several of you because I've talked with you that it doesn't even matter how small you are. I typically work with small businesses that have 10 or more employees, but we also go down to the solopreneurs as well. And Frank deals with really all sizes of businesses, right, Frank?
Yes.
So he's got 25 years. He's been in business. He's in Wellington, Florida, just down the street from me here in West Palm Beach. It's called Frugal Online Enterprises, right?
Rubba. Close enough.
Frugal
Rubba Online
Well, that
Enterprises.
makes sense because your name is Frank. So, all right, we're
There
good.
you go.
And we're going to talk a little bit about, we like to hit this every once in a while. I often talk about building your best life as an individual, but so many of you listen to this podcast and follow our work here at Guardian Rock Wealth are in the small business space. We're going to take a few minutes here to talk about some of the struggles and some of the ways that we might be able to make your life a little easier, so that when you're building your best life and building your best business, you just know some things that maybe you didn't know before, or you know how to get the help that you need. But Frank, I'm going to let you real quick introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do. I know we want to get down into the weeds just a little bit on this idea of an ERC credit, which I'm familiar with, and that Guardian Rock took advantage of it, has done that already, but I don't understand all I know about it. So that's why we bring it in the Guardian Rock. We try and bring in the experts on things, of which you are that for the ERC. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in helping small businesses, and then we'll kind of get into what is this ERC and how do I qualify for it. It sounds like free money, but is that too good to be true? So let's get into it, Frank.
Okay. Well, thanks for the opportunity to be on your show. Yeah, I come from New Jersey, and I was in this sales oriented field a long time ago, and then just basically wasn't working out for me. So I switched into something where I could definitely help businesses. I've always wanted to do that. I always felt like that was where my my future lied, was to be in some kind of a business where I was literally helping other businesses rather than trying to sell anything. So this came about literally last year. I'd always heard of the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC for short, or some people call it the Employee Retention Tax Credit, because that's what it is. But like so many people out there in your audience, and so many people I run into, they have no idea what it is. They don't know if it's real. Most people don't think it's real. I call it a unicorn because, like I said, a lot of people think, well, free money. Nothing's free. It's not free. What's the catch? With all the stuff going on nowadays with the Ponzi schemes and the crypto stuff, it's very easy to see how people are normally skeptical, but even more so now. So I can honestly tell you, though, this is real. The bottom line is most people who are approached are getting email after email and maybe phone calls from companies trying to do the ERC for them. Well, if you don't have a personal relationship with that person, there's really a small percentage of a chance that you're gonna put your financial whatever your information in their hands, and that's what I'm running into there. I'd say probably it's got to be over 70% of people either have not applied for ERC because they don't know what it is, or they don't think it's real. So there's still lots of opportunity for anybody out there that has not applied for it. Feel free to reach out through to me. I'd be more than happy to explain it in more detail.
Well, how's the best way to get in touch with you, Frank?
Two ways. I'll give you my direct phone number. You can call me. It's local. You can call me from anywhere, but it's 561-707-7557. That is my direct number. You'll get me, or my voicemail. The other way is email. You can send me an email. It would be Frubba, which again is first part of my business name, FRUBBA at refund4erc.com. And then the refund is refund, the number 4, ERC.com.
Okay, so I want people to know that right away. And I'm just curious. how did the ERC come to pass? It was, as I understand it, it was part of that enormous CARES Act, right? It's like, is that thing really 700 pages long?
Yeah, it's about 700 or 800 pages. Yeah, I've never actually seen it, but I've seen the stack of it. So it's something like 700 pages long. Yeah, it grew out of the CARES Act, which was created for disaster relief more than anything. But this was specifically targeted at anybody who had a business during COVID, because they realized to get back on your feet, a lot of companies were going to need help. PPP was created and more delegated by the government, and there were a lot of issues with it because some of the money was supposed to be paid back. Some companies got what's the word I'm looking for? Some companies got a free pass and didn't have to pay the money back. It was just a total mess. So I think when the government reissued its $2.3 trillion for the ERC, or the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program, they just basically wanted to be hands off. They didn't want to be the ones to issue it. They are the ones qualifying people for it, but they didn't want to be the ones that have to do like the contacting and initiating it with businesses. So they let just pretty much, I hate to say this, but just about anybody who's unvetted market this stuff. And you're talking about CPAs, accountants, people, some people that know what they're doing, but a lot of people really that don't. There's some companies just advertising and saying, we're going to get you leads for ERC. They're not even real companies. They're lead generating companies. And when they get people that call in interested, they then outsource them to CPAs and whoever they've got, that'll earn a percentage of it. So what that does is, number one, it lowers the credibility, because you have no idea who you're going to get to do the ERC for you, or if they're going to do it right. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great program. As I said, the best thing to do for anybody is to communicate with somebody that you might know. Take time. There's no rush for it. And it's an easy application thing. If you go to my website, and that's www.refund, the number 4, ERC.com. There's a 60-second calculator right there. You can put your information in. It's not going to be held. We're not gonna store it or sell or anything. That's just a way for you to see if you qualify and for how much money you might qualify for.
Yeah, you said there's no rush for it, Frank. Is there a time limit at all, as for you have to file by X date or anything like that?
Yes, there is a deadline. So when I say there's no rush for it, there is no rush unless we get to like the last day or the last few days before. Yeah, the cutoff was July of this year for 2020. They extended it now to April 15th of 2024, which means you have to file by April 15th of 2024 in order to get both the credit for both years. After April of 2024, you then have 1 year. You have till April 15th of 2025 to qualify for 2021. So you can still get a benefit, but the problem is if you don't get in by April 15th of next year, you'll lose out on all of 2020's benefit.
And if if you were employing like 10 employees at, we'll just say $50,000 a year, I mean, that's a pretty decent check, right?
Yeah, well, and it's all going to depend on. Remember what I said: the IRS or the government are not the ones that are issuing it. However, they are the ones that qualify people, and there's specific wording on how to qualify. And I actually printed it out to make sure I say it correctly. But it's basically a significant decline in gross receipts for any eligible quarter in 2020 or 2021. And it's defined as a 50% reduction in revenue during any quarter. I'm sorry, 20% reduction in revenue in any quarter of 2021 compared to the same quarter in 2019. That's actually for both years, 2020 and 2021. They're going to compare the revenue. If there's a serious reduction, I think it's up to 20%, you will qualify for some money. The second way is a full or partial suspension of operations due to order from a federal government. So obviously that happened too, where in other words, where you had to lay off employees, or you had to cut back your hours. That's another way to qualify. Because I've had people straight out tell me, "Oh, we were good, we were open, and you know, we didn't really lay anybody off. Our business went down a little bit, but we don't qualify," and without even checking. The bottom line is this: it makes sense to check. It doesn't cost anything to check. The worst case scenario is, guess what? You don't qualify for anything, or you're not going to qualify for the full benefit.
But it's still essentially free money, right? I mean,
Basically, yeah, it's up to 26,000 per employee per quarter, but the average we're seeing out there is about 10,000, which still isn't bad. I mean, we had a couple people, we had a construction company get 6 figures. I had a church get 6 figures. Okay, a church,
see, yeah,
so
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm really glad you mentioned it because I bet there are a lot of churches out there, and we work with a few churches as well and some clergy, and it seems like churches, just as a, I'm generalizing here, they don't think they qualify for this kind of thing, or they're afraid of it, or something. They don't
yeah.
ask, they never crosses their mind. So if you're running a church, you're a member of a church, or maybe on the board, at least mention this and contact Frank about this, because it's the same thing that, like, when Guardian Rock comes in and we look at your healthcare costs, and we're looking at an organization, whether it's a small business or a church, and we realize, oh my goodness, you're paying significantly more than what you need to be paying for your health insurance benefits for the same type of coverage over in a different place, strictly because you didn't know. Nobody told you. Your existing healthcare insurance is not going to tell you, and there is nothing existing for what you're doing, Frank. This is brand new. Just not knowing, and just, it doesn't take any, like, we'll do the math, right? Like, I do the math for you, whether it works or not, on the health insurance side or the 401k side. You'll do the math for them. You just go to your website and you work with experts in the field that have actually read the 700-page document, made the notes, and make sure you're not going to run afoul of any regulations, right?
Well,
This is
one of the
all taken care
companies,
of.
yeah, one of the companies that I do represent, they've gotten back over 37 billion with a B for all kinds of businesses, including the church. I mean, I'm sure they're not the only church. There's a whole list of churches that have gotten this. I can provide that list to anybody that wants it. But I mentioned that church because they're a local church in Boca Raton. I don't want to say who they are here,
Right.
but I can verify that. I can show you. Anybody that wants proof, I can prove that. But yeah, churches get overlooked. Nonprofits too are another good one. Nonprofits figure, we probably don't qualify. Well, you'd be surprised if you got anybody that's a W-2 employee. You're probably going to qualify.
See, this is what we try and kind of point out. It's generally on the Building Your Life podcast. We're talking about building your individual life, but we do work with a lot of small businesses, a lot of churches, a lot of not-for-profits. And again, you're right. A lot of times not-for-profits really get overlooked unless they're huge. And there could be great benefits. So reach out to us. You know how to get in. If you're a longtime listener to the Building Your Life podcast, all you have to do is text the word life to 321-421-5213. Visit us at Guardian Rock Wealth with a TH.com in the contact us section, and I can connect you with Frank. Let's just take a look, right? Let's take a look at your healthcare. Let's take a look at your 401k. Make sure you're in compliance with ERISA. And then let's see if you qualify for this ERC credit. That could be free money in your pocket. Am I right, Frank? You don't actually pay anything out of pocket, right?
No, it's contingent. We work on a contingency basis. Now, most people are looking for money. Every business, there's two things businesses need. They need revenue or increased revenue or profits or reduced expenses. We fit in both of those categories. I did want to say too that a lot of people are looking for grants or borrowing money or traditional bank. This is free money. It may only be a little bit, 20, 30, 50,000, but hey, every little bit's going to help because it's going to go to your bottom line. It's going to help you. I mean, a church can help a tremendous amount of people. A nonprofit, the same thing. That's what they're in business for, right? I have a lot of people tell me, well, I don't want to accept money from the government. Well, guess what? This is your money. You're paying into it every single month, every single year. So it's your money. It's not money that you're taking from somebody. That's one way to look at it too. As I say, when we say free money, it's money to help you with your business. So go for it.
right. And think about the not-for-profits and the churches out there. I'd kind of rather see them get it than I'll say some of the other folks out there, right? Like, or frankly, the government, right? It's like, I
Oh
think our
yeah,
not-for-profits out there, some of these people, some of these not-for-profits are doing just phenomenal things that just are not going to get done by our government. So
exactly.
let's get that money into the right hands, right? So, and I'm going to include the way to get in touch with Frank. I'm going to backlink everything to Frank's website, so you have that in the show notes. But one more time, Frank, best ways to get in touch with you are?
Well, phone call direct 561-707-7557. Reach out, call me anytime, or you can email me. Fruba, it's F as in Frank, Rubba, my last name, Rubba, at refund4erc.com. That's refund, the number 4erc.com. The website is the same thing. You can go there too. My number's there. I think my email's probably there too, but that's refund, again, the number 4erc.com. And that calculator's there. In 60 seconds, you'll be able to find out how much money you qualify for.
All right, sounds great. I've known Frank for the past, what, 3 years or so,
About 3 years,
and
yeah.
and that's another thing is, so again, we only obviously we only have people on our show that we know, that we trust, and that aren't not going to steer you in the wrong direction. So be sure and reach out, see what's there, or again, reach out to us here at Guardian Rock Wealth, and we'll at least educate you on what's out there, if nothing else, and provide that value. So we will be back again next week with another topic on building your life with John Browning. And we hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you next week.